Hi guys, welcome back. Kamina the coach here. I started to do this video today because, wait a second, just 1 second. You're a little crooked. Sorry, work with me here. I decided to do this video today because I think that it's a skill that I assume that most people have in 2019, but assumption tends to make an erse of you and me, right? So I'm not going to make assumptions anymore. I get a lot of messages for information that I consider easily researchable. A lot of times I turn people away and they end up getting offended. So let me back up a little bit. When I got out of the military, I know that I've told you this story before. So all the way back up. So last video, we talked about the number 2 thing to do to get ready to come overseas. And that was research about where you want to go. So then that's making the assumption that you know how to do the research. So there's more to doing internet research and more to doing research than typing in your full question. And there's more places to go than just Google. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video today. So you remember that I told you when I first got out of the military, I did some work online, or maybe I didn't tell you. I started my own business online, and I was doing business on a company that is now online with a business that's now called Upwork. So I did that for about 2 years, I think, something like that. Even after I was already overseas, I continued doing that. And a lot of people didn't believe that I was able to sustain myself purely by working online. So at least 2 times I sat with people and or on the phone or virtually walk them through the entire process of setting up an Upwork account and to get started from working from home and working online. So to this day, none of those people ever started did anything in the process after I sat with them. Of course, I did that for free. So it was just essentially time wasted for all of us because they didn't end up doing anything with it. When I first started because I was a life coach for life issues, for people trying to achieve goals before I came overseas, as I started trying to transition over to working with people specifically that wanted to come overseas, I did some beta work. So I offered my services for free just to test it out to see if people could actually benefit from a coach to help them to get ready to move abroad. So here's what I learned there. And I have another friend who is actually into doing her courses right now to become a life coach. And she's quite frustrated as well, finding that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So we oftentimes don't appreciate things that we haven't actually invested in. And that investment could be money, it can be time, it can be energy, but very seldom do we appreciate things that we didn't have to work for. Not all of my life was rough and tumble. My adopted father bought me a car when I was 19 or something like that. And I thought that I appreciated it, but I didn't know how to properly take care of it, and probably if I would have known how to properly take care of it, I probably still wouldn't have. Why? Because I didn't earn it. I didn't pay for it. So I didn't fully appreciate it. So, Kamina, what are you talking about, right? So my point is, if you do your own research, if you put the actual work in to come overseas, to get ready to come overseas, if you invest in a coach, you're investing in yourself, you're actually putting work into it, then you're going to appreciate what you're getting even more, and you're much more likely to apply it. So people get really frustrated with me when I direct them to the internet, or I direct them back to one of my groups and ask them to use the search function. So this is a video to talk to you about why you shouldn't be frustrated about that. And then number two, then how to even go about doing what I'm asking you to do. Okay, so let's start with, I live in the Middle East. In this region that I live in, it's called the GCC, the Gulf Coast countries. So we're talking about Oman, UAE, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, right? So in this region, there is an azation, and for each of these countries, there's an Omanization, a Kuwaitization, Qatarization, Emiratization. And someone asked me, what does that mean? And I said, well, you probably want to research it. So let's talk about how to research stuff. So a lot of times when you have a question, a lot of people, I've seen it, they will go to Google and type in their entire question. So what's going to happen when you do that is you're likely going to end up inside of like a conversation thread where somebody has asked a question inside of like a conversation blog or something to that effect. So really, you're not going to get an article, you're not going to get a news clip that's going to answer your question. So what I suggest is to choose the keywords, the main words. So like I said, the azation. So whatever country that you're searching for. So if you're looking for Oman, so Oman, azation, and then maybe GCC or something like that. I wouldn't recommend typing in, what is Omanization? You're going to end up with one of those conversation threads. You're not likely to end up with real news articles in that. So anyway, so we've typed in our keywords. We've chosen the most important words. We've typed them into Google. Now, where do we begin? Which ones do we choose? So I would try, if you're Western, if you're from America, I would try to avoid U.S., British, Western-based news articles. Why? Because they're going to be skewed to our side, to our perspective. As a matter of fact, I would suggest, if you are seriously getting ready to go abroad, that you invest in or you download a free VPN. VPN basically covers up your IP address on your computer, and you can set it to any location in the world. So I suggest you download a VPN on your laptop or on your phone, set your location to that country that you're researching, and actually get the information. It would be like as if you were inside of that country, researching inside of that country. You're much more likely to get relevant information from there. So if you have so that's how to research questions about a country. But what if you have questions like, how do I get started? Or can I bring my kids? Stuff like this. These are really common questions people ask a lot, and you couldn't possibly know that. But if you're in a Facebook group, that gives advice, it's for people to ask questions. So I have two. Americans of Color Teaching Abroad and Overseas Jobs for Black Americans. I have a couple of other ones, but those are the basic ones to help people to get ready to come abroad. So to see if we have had this discussion before, at the top of the page, so if you're on your phone, there's a picture at the top of the group, and then at the top of the group there's a search bar. So if you type in those keywords, again, keywords, not your entire question. So again, Omanization, that's enough. If you type that in that search box at the top, you're going to search inside of that group for any conversation that has mentioned that word. So for groups that have been in play for a long time, have a lot of members, we often discuss the same things again and again and again. And you could benefit from the wisdom shared with others by using that search feature inside of Facebook groups. Then, after you have some more information, then you can come back to the group and ask a more educated question. You're going to get information more valid to what you're after when you can make a more informed, more specific type of question, or pose a more informed question. Okay, so then lastly, as we get ready to close down here, so what about actually talking to people? So talking to people is great. It is absolutely fabulous. A word of caution. People are likely to tell you when things are bad than when things are good. So if somebody has had a really bad experience, they're really going to be anxious to talk to you about this horrible experience. So the problem with that is this is wildly subjective. So I would definitely recommend, before going to the people, that you do your due diligence. So do your internet research first. Go to the groups, do the research, see what people are saying about it. Then talk to people. And just a word of caution for a little bit of etiquette for talking to people. So if you see that people have had a lot of conversation about a topic and you'd like to reach out to that person about what they've been talking about, go ahead and drop them a note in the comment section and just say, hey, do you mind if I reach out to you? Because it's just the kind of etiquette it is. If I know that somebody's going to reach out to me and I know that they're reaching out to me based on this, it gives me some heads up to know that you're going to reach out to me, and you're reaching out to me based on what, and it's just courteous. I'm quite busy. I'm working on a master's degree. I have my channel. I have coaching clients, and then I also work full time. So it's just courtesy. So I'm much more receptive when people ask me, can they reach out to me, versus then they've seen me comment on something and they just reach out to me blindly. And I know that everybody feels like that. And most people are really excited to talk to you. Just give them a heads up first. So then you've reached out to this person in the comments and you say, can I message you? They say yes, and then you reach out to them, get their feedback, but don't just take their word as gospel. Even mine. Don't take my word as gospel. See what other people have to say. I have extensive experience in a lot of countries for many, many years, but what I say is not gospel. I am not the end-all be-all guru on all of this information. See if other people are saying the same thing. So take what this person says, take what somebody else says, take what somebody else says, right? Because the majority rules, and that just in general is how it rolls, right? So just because I say it doesn't mean that it's the end all be all. Go and check and see if other people are saying the same thing I am, or if someone you ask if people are saying the same thing that they've said, right? So I hope that this was easy to follow for you. I hope that nobody finds it offensive. I know that people have left groups, my groups, because they were hurt or offended that I wouldn't walk them through their process in one small conversation online. I'm sorry, guys. This is kind of what I do. I'm a coach, and I encourage you to invest in yourself. You're really not going to appreciate the information I give you unless you've actually invested in yourself. So do your due diligence. Do your internet research the ways that I've told you. Research inside of groups before you ask questions. Ask people before you reach out to them, and take more than one person's feedback on a topic, because one person is not the end all be all. I really hope that this video on research helps you out some and gives you some guidance. If you need some personal one-on-one help, feel free to reach out to me. Again, my group is Americans of Color Teaching Abroad, Overseas Jobs for Black Americans, or you could just reach me at kaminahall@gmail.com. Any of these places is a great place to reach out for me, or just in the comment section below. If you want to work with me, then we could sit down and work together one-on-one over a couple of phone conversations and help you get your plan together to get ready to come overseas. All right, guys, until next time, here's wishing you love, light, joy, peace, and happiness. Kamina the coach, I'm out, guys. Bye.